If there's one phrase that could perfectly sum up Survivor Series 2023, it's never say never. We saw Randy Orton return from a career-threatening injury, Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair burying the hatchet and becoming friends again, R-Truth making a surprise return, and we saw the impossible become possible. With just minutes left in the show, CM Punk made his long-awaited return back to the WWE, a moment that most fans, including myself, thought we'd never see. And with everyone in shock, and most of them being excited, one person who most definitely was not happy about Punk's return was the World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins. Now, you know a pay-per-view was really good when the show is over and you're sitting there wondering what's next. But before we can talk about the future, let's go over Survivor Series 2023. The show opened with the Women's War Games match, and walking into this, Team Bianca looked unified, except the odd woman out, that being Becky Lynch. Almost a complete shift in both team dynamics, because Damage Control came out as a solid team, and that showed throughout the match. Damage Control had the upper hand the majority of the time, even though they didn't have the advantage. But once Becky and Charlotte reconciled in the ring, all bets were off, and Team Bianca started going crazy. And Bayley tried her hardest to keep Damage Control going by breaking up numerous pinfalls and submissions, but in the end, after taking a spear from Charlotte that was intended for Kairi Sane, Bayley got hit by everyone's finishing move on Team Bianca and was sent through a table and pinned, with Team Bianca coming out with the win. And with Bayley just absolutely destroyed now, will Damage Control acknowledge Bayley as the MVP of their team, or will they look at her as the weak link and finally kick her out of the group? I don't know, but this Damage Control storyline just got even more interesting. Now, throughout the pay-per-view, we had many different backstage segments, with both Team Cody and Team Judgment Day talking about how Randy hasn't shown up yet, and the leader of Team Judgment Day, Damian Priest, made a not so smart decision with this information, thinking that since Team Cody is missing a member, that tonight would be the best night to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase. But on Team Cody's side, Jey Uso was just blaming himself for Randy not showing up. But next up, we got Gunther versus The Miz for the IC title, and this match was really fun. At first, The Miz clearly tried to prove to Gunther that he can hang in the ring with him by doing similar moves as him, but once The Miz realized that that wasn't working, he resorted back to doing what he does best, and that's winning by any means necessary, like exposing the turnbuckle and low-blowing Gunther, and The Miz got real close to winning, and the crowd was behind him 100%. But in the end, Gunther beat The Miz, stamping his name in the history books as the greatest IC champion of all time. After that, we had Santos Escobar versus Dragon Lee, and Santos is such a good heel, he had the crowd chanting "F you Santos," and this elevated Dragon Lee so much, and it had some great moments as well with an insane finish. Now for Rhea Ripley versus Zoey Stark, this match was a good showing for Zoey, having her go up against one of the biggest stars in the WWE within her first year on the main roster, but like most predicted, Rhea retained her title. And finally, the main event, Team Cody versus Team Judgment Day in War Games. Now this match had some subtle storyline moments here and there, like Damian Priest directing traffic with the Judgment Day, almost like how Roman was when the Bloodline was in War Games the year prior. But unlike Roman, Damian's leadership caused the Judgment Day to get way too cocky and focus more on Seth and the world title than the actual match. And when it came time for Randy to finally return, Damian had no backup plan, and the Judgment Day went out like chumps, including Drew McIntyre. But during Randy's triumphant return, he made sure to let Jey know that his receipt is coming. But that wasn't until Jey saved Randy from getting attacked, so maybe that put Randy's plan for revenge on pause for now. But after an insane RKO and a crossroads to Damian Priest, Team Cody stood tall over Team Judgment Day, and as the show closed out, after 9 years, CM Punk has returned, and Chicago erupted into cheers for their hometown hero. But even though Survivor Series had a happy ending, what happened after the show wasn't so happy, with Seth Rollins needing to be held back by security because he wants to fight Punk after years of these two hating each other. Their paths have finally crossed, and hopefully this leads to a match between the two at Mania next year. But as for Survivor Series, this show will go down in history and was a great last pay-per-view for 2023. But let me know your thoughts on Survivor Series this year in the comments down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.